What a couple of weeks I've had. Hello. I've been going through so much and learning so much in good and bad, but ultimately all in good, because the bad is the good that we still don't know how to comprehend. And I've been comprehending that good recently, where I realize why the bad things happen to me. And it's never the bad things that happen, it's just the things that I thought that I wanted for myself did not end up occurring. And thanks to that, I do have what I needed and I didn't even know I needed. You know? Sometimes we pray or we ask or we manifest, let's say oranges, and we try and get oranges. We maybe try oranges and it still doesn't satiate that hunger and that thirst. Then one day life sends you mangoes. And then you realize, oh my God, the mangoes were like the best, juiciest, satisfying thing I could ever thought of. But I never did. And now I realize all I needed was mangoes. And I was looking in other directions. And I feel like sometimes we just got to go through life like that. Like understanding that it's not about asking, it's about appreciating what you receive. It's appreciating what has been given to you. And when you appreciate what's been given to you, everything is a good. Because you gotta understand that sometimes we don't even have control over our lives. Like things just happen. So we just gotta understand how to appreciate the mangoes that are coming to us. And sometimes we see a tree full of mangoes and they all look so good. All look different. There's different sizes, tastes, they look different. And then we just stand there and we're just like, okay, but what mango do I pick? There's so many good ones. I don't know which one to pick. Like, until time passes and all of them have rotten in front of you. And what I mean with this, is it allegory? This metaphor, I guess. Not allegory. That's a story. This analogy is sometimes we just gotta pick and choose a path. Because time is still gonna run by. And if time runs and you didn't even pick a mango to taste to start with, all of them just rot it in front of you. Maybe just pick one that's nearby or that seems easiest to grab and then taste that one. And then you're like, you know what? Now I'm going to taste that one. It looks good. And then you get in this flow where you, at the end of the season, you ate all the mangoes and you tried all the mangoes and you chose your favorite one. And now you're going to try to cultivate and seed and plant a seed to grow that type of specific mangoes. What I mean by that is if you have many desires in your life, don't let that fear of the mangoes rotting stopping you from picking a mango. So don't let that fear of like it's too late or I'm never gonna be able to make it or I'm just not good enough stop you from trying different things until you find one that you like. And today I want to talk about the flow state and why it's important to hold fear by the hand instead of it letting you instead of it guiding your way. I was talking to a friend about the flow state recently and he was telling me that it's like, yeah, it's when you go and like you just don't stop and it's like it's a sweet spot where you're just like doing and doing and doing and nothing's stopping you, whatever, blah. But then I asked him like, what do you think inspires that flow state? He's like, I don't know, you just gotta like find your peace somewhere that you feel comfortable and like your answers will come to you. And to a certain extent I do agree, but to another I don't, because I feel like the flow state, to me, life is about taking leaps. Fulfilling your passions and your dreams is about taking those leaps that are scary and feel scary, but taking them. So let's imagine, this is how I literally see life in my head. Walk with me. Imagine it's like an infinite amount of cliffs, and then you don't know how tall the next one is going to be. All you see is just you're at the top of the mountain, then you look down and you see the ground all the way down. And then you see that like blurry, there's other cliffs and other mountains that are way ahead, but right now you're just like seeing a big cliff. And then you're at the edge. And in the edge you're thinking, damn, that's a big fall. That's a big leap. If I jump, I don't even know if I'm gonna. Is there a net underneath? Is there like something underneath? Like, is something gonna catch me when I throw myself? It's like a bungee jump, let's say. Like, you know you're tied to something, but there's still this fear that the bungee rope will not hold you. You know, maybe it's just me and my intrusive thoughts. I don't know. No, but so you're looking down at the cliff and you're like, I should jump. And then there's where you see these different types of people. The ones who jump and they trust and hope that the net appears and the net is down there. And the other side, where they just stand there at the cliff and they're just like, imagine in every possible way in which they can jump, in which they're gonna be held, in which they're gonna be caught. Every scenario, but they're just imagining. They're paralyzed by that fear of uncertainty, of not knowing how they will be caught or how they will be saved. So you have these two types of people. And in my head, I used to always be this person that would just be standing in front of the cliff and be like, okay, I know how to jump. I know what could save me. I know that maybe there could be a net that will help me. But damn, that's scary. Damn. I would rather just enjoy the view up here. And then, I don't know, I'll jump when I'll jump. And then time passes and I still haven't jumped. And then I see all of these people jumping. Woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, how are they doing that? How are they doing that? That to me is how it feels to want to pursue something in your life, a dream, an aspiration, but having fear and imagination combined with that fear stopping you of getting there and trying. That fear of failure, which is a really valid fear, but when used wrong, it paralyzes you. It becomes a freno. How do you say that in English? It becomes a brake. Damn, that took me a while. It becomes a brake or a motor. You choose. Fear can be paralyzing. You know, boo. People are like, oh, fight or flight. And then some people are like, boo, and they're like, ugh. But it's choosing how you want fear to influence you. And if you understand how to use fear to your favor, you're going to be unstoppable. And this is how you kind of do it. So back to my analogy of the cliff. This is how I decided to start seeing this dynamic within me and how things started happening to me once I unlocked this way of seeing life. So as I told you before, I was being this other person. I was just like standing there looking at people jumping and I was like, oh, I know, I'm scared. Nothing was happening. I called it the imposter paralysis. I felt like I was never enough for anything. I felt like an imposter. And then that fear of not being enough, but knowing that I had the abilities and capabilities and assets and qualities to be good. I did so much in my head, but nothing in my body. I was overstimulated and overwhelmed inside, paralyzed by fear of greatness and fear of possibility, and then the fear of failure and imposter syndrome. And the fear was channeling as paralysis instead of action. And the moment I was like, yo, what if I just jump? What if I just do it? Like, I should take the leap because I trust that the net will appear, right? I don't know. I literally don't have anything. I don't have anything to lose. And if I don't have anything to lose, there's no risk. It's the time now where no one depends on me, where I'm just like doing my own thing, that I can try new things and fail. Without failure, there's no lessons. Because if you're just like passing life by like with flying colors, what are you learning? Everything's easy. You don't learn anything if it's easy. So I was like, you know what? If not now, when? And I decided to take the leap. I was like, I'm gonna jump the cliff. I jumped the cliff, and that decision for me was moving to New York with no work, no job. That's redundant. No job, no house, no money, no money. And I realized that the net was not a net. It was a trampoline. I jumped, it caught me, and then it bounced back way higher. And then I jumped and landed on a bigger mountain with a bigger cliff. And I was like, damn, I didn't know this was possible. But this is dope. The view over here is even crazier. So I realized, what is the flow state? Flow state sounds like a river, like water just going through. It's like the currents going by. But I don't think the flow state is water. I think the flow state is literally taking leaps and not stopping at any cliff. Just keep taking leaps. Keep jumping the cliffs. The flow state happens not when you let go of fear, because you cannot let go of fear. Fear will always be there. You can let go of fear. Fear will hold on to you. What you can let go of is the way you see fear. Fear is a motor. Fear is what feeds your fire. Fear is the coal to your train. Fear should be like, yo, if this decision comes with a side of fear, that's where I need to go. Because I grow in fear. And in fear, discomfort appears, and I grow in discomfort. If it's not scary, it's safe. And if it's safe, I don't grow. I don't become better. So if you want to grow and become better, fear should be part of the ingredient list. Because again, imagine I'm telling you, like I'm back at home, I'm back in Panama, and I have this job back home. And it's a stable job in the field that I studied. And yeah, I'm doing certain things that I might enjoy, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, I hate what I'm doing. Because I am not doing the art that I feel like I was meant to be doing, or exploring the paths that I feel like I was meant to be exploring. And I could have said, you know what? I'm just going to stay here. It's safe for now. And I'm going to work here, and then I'll figure it out. And then maybe I'll apply to some jobs and see if something lands. If not, I'll just stay. But it's safe right now, so I'm going to play it safe. Cool. But in the back of my mind, it's always that thing that's like, I really want to live like a movie in New York. Like, I really want to live a life of like grandiose things for me. Like, I take risks, and then like someone sees my art, and then I want to be living a riskier life, because I feel like art is risky. Art is never safe, and I'm an artist. So in that moment, I could have played it safe, you know? I could have just like stayed there, but I wasn't gonna grow. I was gonna be comfortable, you know? If it's safe and comfortable, growth comes really slowly, because there's no challenges or things that are like putting you against you, and having you face yourself and understand yourself. and being like, oh, whoa, 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 this is me. I don't like what I'm doing. I need to be better. I need to do this, right? Oh, I really like how I react to this. Like, for that, you need discomfort. You need moments of discomfort. You need challenges. And in safety, there's not that type of challenge that will push you to like really grow. And I decided to go through the route of like fear, which was, oh my God, but I don't have money. I don't have a job. If I quit this one, like I'm moving to a new country where no one knows me, where I don't have anything. And I'm scared of literally like dying because I have no food, like no money, whatever. Like I'm just gonna use what I have and try to make it because I have to. And if I don't, well, it's a redirection. I'll just go back to my safe spot, I guess. Of course, which one is scarier? This one. Of course, because I know that it's like, this is not safe at all. Like, people go to New York with full written down plans. I was there just like spontaneous traveling, and I was like, I'm going to stay and just try to make it work. I was scared of shit. But I decided to go with that. And I realized every time I made a decision, when I was put with two options, a safe one and one that came with a side of fear, the moments I chose safe, I ended up feeling the discomfort later. Bigger and deeper discomfort than the discomfort of fear. You know what I mean? I was feeling like this uncomfortable because I was delaying what I knew I wanted. I was not living what I knew I wanted. So that was uncomfortable for me. And it was not the type of discomfort where I grew. It was the type of discomfort where I was like, I know I need to grow, but I'm scared of doing it because it's scary. And then the moments I chose the ones immediately where they were like, that's scary. I don't feel like I'm capable of doing that. It was the moments where life rewarded me with opportunities and lessons and growth and everything. And I was like, huh? Is this the hack to life? Literally, I think the cheat code to life and what I call the flow state is learning how to see every cliff as a new opportunity to jump higher. Okay, I see this cliff. I know that I jumped the last one and the fall was really, really low to the point that I didn't even think there was going to be a net or a trampoline. And then at the end, right when I thought I was going to fail, but there's a trampoline and I jumped even higher. And then in that moment, I went up to this beautiful cliff, beautiful peak, and I got really beautiful flowers and I saw another type of view I've never seen. And then I found some fruit. I found some equipment for the next jump. And then once I'm done enjoying that peak, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay here for a bit. I'm going to walk around a little bit. I'm kind of tired of jumping. Maybe I'll go downhill a bit just walking. And then you walk a plateau. And then you're like, I don't have that much energy to climb again, but I feel like I need to stay at that plateau for a bit. And just like walk. Found more equipment, more little things, more flowers. I paid attention to the details around me. And the more I gathered, the more I walked the plateau, the more energy I got. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go up the cliff again. I'm going to go up the mountain again. Okay, I'm going to go up. Then you go up and you know that you're going to see the peak. You know you're going to see the peak. And you're walking and you're walking and you're walking and you're like, I know something's coming. I know something's coming. I just don't know what I'm going to be expecting. I don't know what I'm expecting. And then you go to the peak and you're like, damn. This is really high up. I don't know if I can jump again. This is insane, bro. I can't believe this is the view that I'll get. But holy shit. This is too tall. But then I say, you know what? I have new equipment that I didn't have before that I collected walking up here. I saw new things. I tasted different fruits. I saw flowers. I saw so many things. I met people in the way up. I'm just gonna jump. I'm just gonna trust like I've done before. Because every time I felt like I was gonna crash, trampoline or net always appeared. So I'm gonna jump, and I jump. Bow! Again, there's your net. There's your trampoline. Life is like that. When you act with courage, which courage means, courage is kind of like, I think courage is like when you fall in love with fear. What do you think? I just thought about that. Is courage just falling in love with fear? Because courage ultimately pushes you to go not against fear, but to work with it, to have a relationship with it. Like, I'm gonna be courageous enough to hold fear by the hand and just do it. And being courageous is like being vulnerable, which is the scariest thing you can do is be vulnerable. Is like, be honest with yourself, be authentic with people, living your authentic life. That's vulnerable, especially in a society that's so focused on what you're doing in and who you are and what you have. Being vulnerable and authentic is courageous. It's scary. And when you go through life with a bag equipped full of courage, that's like a cheat code. You can get anything. You can accomplish anything. If your bag is equipped, I feel like in your journeys towards these cliffs, if you manage to gather the goods, which are, to me, there has to be, let's do like it's like a food pyramid of equipment that you need to have in your bag. To me, these are courage, trust, and I mean trust in yourself and life, creativity. Everyone is creative. Everyone. I don't care what field you're in. Everyone is creative. The act of creating. When you work in any field, you're creating something. You're developing something. You're creating something. Every field. Courage, trust, creativity, compassion, and determination. I feel like those are good. If you think of more, let me know. Write them down. I would like to know which ones you think you hold in your equipment bag. I feel like it's trust, courage, compassion. What did I say? Courage, trust, compassion, determination, creativity. Trust, courage, compassion, creativity. TCCC. What's the other one? Damn, brother. Why do I have like Nemo? I have Finding Nemo like Dory brain sometimes when it comes to short span. Anyways, write those down for me, please. But yeah, I want to know which ones do you think are a necessity in your equipment bag when it comes to taking these leaps. What tools, what equipment do you have in your bag? Which ones do you think you should have? And I feel like courage is a big one. And trust. And creativity. And all the ones that I said. But yeah. Because you need trust to trust that the net will appear and the trampoline will appear and that you'll land higher. And if you don't land higher, it's just because you're being redirected to another spot. You jump and you think you're going to land here and then suddenly you land over there. You're like, wait, what? Oh, wait. That's kind of nice. And then you go through here and you're like, oh, wait, I didn't know I wasn't like this. I like this path. You know? Then courage you need to be able to hold fear that's always going to be there and say, you know what? Let's do this. Give me a kiss. Let's jump. Then creativity. You should go through life always thinking about using what was given to you when you were born. You were created to create and doing something about it for life, to put out there, to create, to give back. You should take the leaps also always creating and giving something and understanding and finding what's that creativity within you meant to be doing for the world, and that's what you should offer. Sometimes that's just people that are meant to be parents and create life, create children that will cause more things in life. Then there's some people that are born to create music, to heal, or art to fight for a cause, or people that create they create awareness and they're activists, or some people that create businesses that help so many lives. And it's always like creating. So creativity is one really, really important piece for the mosaic that builds your bag of equipment. Then we have compassion. Compassion is really important because as you jump, you're gonna see people next to you at the cliffs that are just standing there scared to jump. And you should always help those people and encourage them to jump as well, to jump with you, helping them jump. Share some of your equipment with them. Or sometimes you see people that are taking full leaps and jumping and jumping and jumping. You're like, they're jumping off. They're awful in how they jump. Like, oh my God, they're falling so bad. Like, let's say people that are like going and doing big step ups in their lives, but you feel like you're better at them, like you're better than them in what you both do. Whatever. There's always gonna be some people that are further in their career than you, and you feel like you're better than them. But again, it's not about the equipment you hold in the moment. It's about if you're jumping or not. You're like seeing someone way ahead, and you're like, wait, what? How are they ahead? They have less equipment than I have. Well, they're jumping. You're stuck there just looking, you know? And then the last one, I said 5. Okay. Trust, courage, compassion. I can't believe this shit. Oh my God. These essays are gonna be just like, I need a peer editor. Oh. Wait. Determination. Oh my God. I don't even know what I was saying. Okay. Determination. The 5th one. Why I think determination is necessary in your equipment bag. Because determination is what gives you the compass. You need the coal, you need the fuel, which is that fear that then channels as courage. You need the creativity, you need the trust in that things will happen and that the path is there for you. And you need the compassion for others, but you need the determination to keep jumping. There needs to be something you're looking at that you're like, you know what? I know I'm far away from it. I don't know how many mountains I gotta jump to get there, but I know it's there. I know it will come. I just gotta keep jumping. Maybe there's gonna be a leap, a cliff that I'm gonna jump, and the trampoline is gonna be so big I'm randomly maybe one day gonna land there. Or maybe I think, nah, it's gonna be close, but then it takes me a lot of jumps and mountains to get there. But I was still looking at the same place. Sometimes you see a light, you're like, I see the spark right over there, but I have no idea what it is. I know that there's a light for me, but I'm still figuring out what exactly I'm going towards. But I know that I'm moving forward. I just don't know exactly what it's gonna be. Like what the peak is gonna be. Like for me, I know that I'm meant to be an artist and to create and to heal through whatever I create in my art. I don't know yet what exactly my art should be. I'm exploring that. But I know I need to keep moving forward and taking those leaps and like just focusing on the cliff that's in front of me. I'm not going to focus on the 70 other cliffs that I see all the way there. I'm like, no, that's too much to handle. I'm going to focus on this cliff. So I feel like determination is key, but the only way to get that asset in your equipment bag is when you meet necessity. Necessity is a really key factor that you need to meet in your plateaus or in your hills. Necessity comes when something you have or you never had is not there, or you've never had it or it's not there anymore. It's necessity. When you learn to appreciate something because of its absence. And sometimes people learn that because they're born into places or they're born into certain lifestyles where they lack these things. And there's sometimes people that have these things but then lose them and then they realize their value once they lost them. And then there's the other ones that are pretty rare that learn how to appreciate what they have when they've always had it. Which is rare, but those are really interesting people. But sometimes I feel like necessity is necessary for life. Because through necessity, you gain the determination to keep going, to fight for having that, to fight for getting what you want. Because you know how it feels to not have it. And you want to indulge in the fulfillment of receiving and earning something that you fought so hard for and you've jumped millions of cliffs for. And you've literally beat fear, and not even beat fear, you made love to fear and became courageous enough to go through life knowing how to play with it. You don't go against life, you let life pass through you and you go with life. And honestly, I was really privileged and grateful and lucky that I was born in a family where my parents worked really, really, really hard. They're self-made, to to help us not lack anything growing up. Even though they were really working hard and not letting us show that they're tired and overworked, they still made sure that we didn't lack anything. And I feel so grateful that I had those hardworking parents that taught me how it is to be a hard worker and to have that determination. But since I grew up in that environment, I realized I don't necessarily, I haven't met necessity face to face. And I know this is like a really tricky or maybe sensitive topic to talk about, but I'm going to speak my truth. I realized like I really want to feel what necessity is and can be, because I really want to appreciate the things that I've lived with, the things that have been given to me, and the things that I don't have. And learn what necessity is to learn what I want from it and what I can do with it. So that's why I decided to quit my job back home that was safe and that was basically stable, and thanks to people I knew, it was like a given, I guess. Not because of my lack of merit, but because they knew who I was. And because the place I'm from is really small. Like my back home is really small, so everyone knows each other, and like if you know they know you, you're like, hey, yeah, you can get an interview, whatever. So it's a little bit easier than here where you're no one. You're a nobody. And I said, you know what? I really want to go somewhere where I'm nobody and where I have nothing, where I literally lack like dinner, like food, sometimes even like lack opportunities, and understand what it is to fight for the basic things in life and disconnect myself from back home, and learn what it is to get things just because you're of your own merit and who you are, and not because who you know and who you are because they know you socially, you know. So I told myself, ever since I was 17, I've been like independent, financially and work wise. I went to college and like I paid for my own things. I funded my own things with different side jobs and jobs while I was studying. And I mean, my this was out of just my own decision, not because my parents were like, "You need to stop." Like, no, but I was just like, you know what? I want to help them in any way that I can, cause things back in my country weren't as great. So like, you know what? I'm gonna do the best that I can to provide for myself and learn how to do that early. And then I did it. And then I completely disattached when I went to college. And I was just with financial aid and my jobs funding my way through it, I guess. Literally. Um, and then I moved to New York and I had nothing. And then just hustling and with connections and being a creative problem solver, I could stay. And I'm still here, and sometimes I don't even know how, but I'm still here. And it's all because of necessity, of also talking to people that come from different backgrounds and different places of the world, different um like different economic places or levels or towns, like anything. I part-time babysit, and that has also not only taught me so much about myself but about other people and situations. I've sat down with nannies from all around the world, from different places. Let's say Haiti, Nepal, Vietnam, Taiwan, eh, Jamaica. I've sat down with them and asked them about their lives and their situations and their stories, and I learned so much through their stories. I learned what real necessity is, what real like struggle is. Cubans as well, specifically. Recently, I've been around a lot of Cubans, and I've learned my grandfather is Cuban, but he used to always be really like hide or not hide, but he was like the Cuba topic was like a taboo because he was so traumatized by the situation back there. And recently, I've been seeing more of that culture up close and listening to the stories, and I've seen necessity now through the second hand that feels so firsthand because of how they tell it, that it fuels my necessity and my determination to keep going. Because if I have the luck and the privilege to be here, I might as well make full use of that opportunity and privilege that I've gotten myself for the ones who can't, and maybe open doors for those who can't. And I feel like necessity is a big, big necessary factor that everyone should find in their lives. Sometimes people that were born into everything and have everything and never lack anything, they don't have as big aspirations as people that don't have anything because they don't know what it is to not have something. They haven't seen what necessity feels like. Therefore, they don't even think about jumping these cliffs of the flow state, of taking these risks, because they don't live a risky life. They find risks in the uphills and downhills, and they never jump. They have, like they say, they have materials to build a bridge and just walk over it to the next one, to the next mountain. You know, they don't need to jump. They just can't cross. How do you learn how to have courage and beat fear and make love to fear if you're just walking and ignoring what it is to fall? You're just going the easy way. So I feel like in life, you should find the flow state. You should find the way in which you can hold all of these assets in your equipment bag and take those leaps and not stop just moving and moving and moving. And fear is going to be there. It's not about letting go of fear. That's not what the flow state is. The flow state is about holding on to fear and making love to it and having a good relationship with it in order to channel it as a motor and not as a brake. And once you do that, you are able to literally eat all the mangoes in the tree because the flow makes you like get a mango, 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 and you'll taste it, all of them, and then you realize, hey, this was my favorite. Now I'm gonna plant a seed to grow all of these style of mangoes, like I said before. Or in my other analogy, now I'm just gonna keep going towards that little light that I see at the end. But now that I know how to jump and how to not be scared of jumping, rather understanding that if I jump and I fall in another mountain and I scratch myself, I'm just gonna, like, with my equipment, I'm just gonna clean up and then keep going. And I feel like that's when you start seeing life in that little game or illustration, life becomes less scary. Because it really is that, I don't want to say simple, but it really is that, like, basic, in which if you train your mind to see life in a certain way, you're going to see life through those eyes. Your mind is so much more powerful than what we think. Oh my God, the mind is so powerful. And if we train the mind to work for us instead of against us, unstoppable. So I feel like now I invite you to maybe figure out what assets you want in your equipment bag. And if you're right at the edge of a cliff, how long have you been staring down, scared of what's going to be down there? When are you going to jump? If not now, when are you going to jump? When the mangoes rot? I hope this works. I hope this helps. We're in this together. I'm right now facing I think I'm walking uphill right now. I know something's coming and I'm being equipped for it. And I'm going to get to that peak and I'm going to be like, okay, so I'm going to jump soon. I think you guys will see when. But yeah, with all that being said, live and let live. Be kind. And take the leaps, because the net and trampolines will appear. Los quiero mucho.